Welcome to the Cheers and Strings podcast, the show where I talk to musicians about what's happening within the local music scene, as well as listing some of their original music. So today my guest is David Woodcock, who's a musician from Essex, who's got decades of experience of performing live and writing his own music. In this episode, we listen to a number of his original songs, find out how he got started in music, and get a glimpse into what's coming next. Should be a good one, so let's dive into it. So David, thank you very much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks for asking us.
So we recorded some of your music earlier, some really good stuff there. Really enjoyed that.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, we'll give some of that a listen in just a bit.
Yeah.
But before we do that, could you just take me back to where it all started for you with music and when you first got into it?
I remember the first memory I had of it was like a piano, and just bashing it because we had one in the house. And I think, if you have a keyboard, it's not quite the same because it's not always on. But we had a piano, and when you hit a real piano, it resonates a different way. I mean, I didn't know that when I was a little toddler, but I remember being fascinated by it, and I used to hit the low keys a lot, and I used to like that. And my mum sort of said, well, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it properly. So she started teaching me. I never went to school. I was actually homeschooled, and she taught me music from about 4 or 5 years old. She taught me how to read piano, but she had a very sort of old-fashioned approach to it, buy a broom, buy a broom, buy a broom, sweep your room, I am C, middle C, left hand, right hand, middle C. So, I mean, that nearly killed all enjoyment for music that you could muster, really, you can imagine. I didn't really enjoy that, I just wanted to hit it. Yeah. But I do get that, she taught me how to read music. But I did, apparently, according to my mother, she used to tell me this, so apparently I'd rather have done more maths.
Really? Yeah.
I used to go, do we have to do music? I hated it. And I couldn't do hands together because I just wanted to play the melody line. Right. I mean, I teach music now, and I can see in kids that, they just want to recognise the tune. Sometimes you teach them a chord. Oh, here he is on cue. You want to teach them the chords so they can accompany themselves. And if they sing, that's fine, but they need that melody line. I mean, I'm probably digressing off, but I think I actually really started to enjoy it through an elastic band, believe it or not. I used to get elastic bands and wrap them around the desk that I taught from, and would pluck it like a guitar, and then I got a shoebox and put loads around. And then I realised I wanted to learn guitar. I didn't even know how many strings there were on a guitar, and a lot of people know me for playing the piano, but it's actually the guitar that really got me into music at about 13. And then I started getting a proper piano teacher teach me, and he just taught me like classical stuff at first, but like a bit more fun and pop stuff as well. And then I really got into jazz. So then from getting into jazz, I then started playing in a jazz workshop, and I think that's when I really started to get into music. I think I knew I wanted to do it at about 13 because I used to fancy some people on the TV, and I used to think, oh, this was going to be my route in. I'll get good at music, and she'll like me because of that. And of course that never really happened. Can be an icebreaker though, music, but I was far too shy. So yeah, I was 16 when I first played in public, and as I say, I ended up joining this sort of jazz workshop, and that's when I really got into jazz, and I loved the improvisation of doing jazz. But I wanted to do pop, sort of, not pop, what I mean, like just the normal sort of pop and rock sort of stuff, not without, not cliched pop and cliched rock. It's just, I don't try and reinvent the wheel. I just want to write songs that, say something to me maybe, and if other people can relate to it, that's nice. But I've got to be honest with you, I've never really gone out my way to try and write for other people, and I think whenever I have, it's not been successful.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're trying to do what you think they want. You've got to do it for yourself. And so even sometimes I've written a song and then I don't feel like I did when I wrote it, and I don't like it anymore. I don't want to do that one, even though I can appreciate it's a good song.
Yeah, because I hear that a lot actually, that when it comes to songwriting, people generally, if they are trying to write for someone else, it just doesn't seem to work. You don't have the same passion for it,
I mean, I got a bit lucky a few years ago because I was on a record label and he was talking to a film producer, sort of director guy, who had got some ideas of what songs he wanted, and he had titles, and he liked some of my songs that I'd already written. The film never got made in the end, actually, but because he had a couple of titles, I ended up writing songs like that, and I loved doing that. So I think it can work a little bit, but somewhere it's got to have someone, you're not just pitching blindly.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to be second guessing. I do quite like it as an exercise to try and write a song, like whatever, but I think it has to be real, really.
Yeah. So going back to the live performance side of things, so how did that transition then from just playing a few little performances into doing it more seriously? Well,
it was, we're going back here, it's like year 2000, and I had a friend of mine who became a friend, he's still a friend now, a guy called Vic, who was a bass player who ran this jazz workshop, Vic Hobson, and he was encouraging, said, come along. It's once a month. We used to call it free jazz night. It was down at it's called the Moonraker now, but so it's in the cellar. I don't know if you know it, in Westcliff, near Westcliff Station. And it was in the back room there. I think it was the first Sunday of the month. And they'd got a bloke there who'd got a piano down there, like a keyboard. And I used to sit there with my mum and dad, waiting for him to be asked to get up. And I remember the first time going there, being forced up on stage, and my mum going, "Don't, no," she didn't know I could do it. I don't think I knew I could do it, but we got up and did like Summertime, and they wanted to do Moon Dance. I'd never heard that song, and went into it. It's like a bug. I really remember that. It was a real turning point. First time I played live. And then I started wearing glasses because I needed to wear glasses to see the other musicians, because I couldn't make out the expressions Vic was pulling. Like, we're going to the head now. Do you know what I mean? Like, going back. So I started doing that, and then, got to bear in mind, I can analyse it now and see it quite clearly. I was very, very shy, because I didn't have dealings with other people at all, because I'd been homeschooled and never really socialised, because that's how I was brought up, really, unfortunately. But it's made me appreciate people probably more now as I'm older, because, when you spend a lot of time on your own, I'm a bit of a social butterfly now, I suppose. But although people can be incredibly annoying, and I hate making small talk, I've got to be in the right frame of mind to be able to do it. But again, it could stem back to not socialising much. So it was very hard for me, because I was aware I'd written a lot of songs already, but obviously you can't do it all on your own, and I didn't have the confidence yet to sing, and my voice was awful. I mean, I thought I could sing at the time, but I realised my voice hadn't even properly broken. So, one day I think, I could sing, and I didn't even realise that it hadn't properly broken. And, I think the turning point was 2000. It was New Year's 2001. I'd met him once before. It was a guy called Jerry Davis, who was friends with Vic, and he was a John Lennon tribute guy, and he loved me piano playing. I love the Beatles and John Lennon and that, and he asked me to join his band. So I joined his band. Then I got asked to do bands after band, and it was all cover stuff, and I ended up in so many bands, and it was at college then, a music college, and suddenly, within a few years I'd really become very well known locally for being a bloke who played piano, who looked like about 12 years old and was 19. And I realised one day I was playing for this woman who was absolutely dreadful. And she had a song that went on for 20 minutes, and it was like 2 chords all the way, and it was really boring. That's something that wasn't relevant to my life at all, and she kept changing the song, and She wanted me to score it. Cut a long story short, I thought I was having a heart attack. There's footage of this somewhere. Awful. And it was like an epiphany. Because I got rushed to my friend Mick. He's probably got it on camera somewhere. I think I'm going to die, you know. It's got this A flat chord.
Mick Remington?
No, not Mick Remington. Mick Lawrence and West.
Okay.
And he was videoing it, and I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. It was probably like this, a lot of lights, very hot.
Mm.
I had my Everton shirt on underneath like a suit because she wanted me to wear a suit for it. And she was talking about going to America and touring out in America. I'm doing all this, and I thought, I really hate this. Mm. And it was just absolutely, it was an epiphany. I can see it now.
Yeah.
I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought I was going to die. I mean, honestly, think about it now. It's making me tense. I went to A&E. They were like quizzing me. Yeah, you're a musician. You must be on drugs or something, you know. I mean, I'm really not, you know. I said, I had a couple of JD and Cokes last night. Oh, you had a drink then? I was like, no, you know. But it was just because it was something I didn't want to do. And, you know, that was a turning point for me because although I started playing live a lot, I was doing stuff that my heart wasn't in. And I met some people I liked, but I liked them but didn't want to do the music. So then my teacher at the college said to me, there's this guitarist guy who I showed him your tape of original music. Because that's what I did then. I had like 2 months off college. They called it nervous exhaustion. And they said, just, you've got to stop. The term was trying to fit, it's something to do with a measurement like pints. It was quarts or something, quarts or something. I remember him saying, you're trying to put too much and you can't do it.
Yeah.
So I just culled every band pretty much I was in. Kept some of the original ones and then realised I didn't want to do them either. But it was very difficult because I liked people and I didn't want to lose friends, but I just then concentrated on doing my own music for this project we had at college, which was basically create an album. It was called I was on an Access to Music course and it was called Create a Repertoire. And I did like 45 minutes of that. Learned, you know, recorded on my little 4-track. And that made me feel a lot better in general. And then I think that then, as I say, there was this guy at the college who heard my stuff, liked it. Teacher told me. So the day I left college, I got in touch with him and we started my first original band. So I would have been about 19 at that stage. And then that drove me to, obviously drove me to get right a lot because I was now trying to, you know, he came around, he said, I can't believe how many songs you've already written. Like, and you remember how to play them. But the songwriting got better. His name was Dan Clark. And, you know, we then got a guy called Joe Lamb in on drums, who still does a lot of music around the town now. And we had about 20 bass players over the years because we couldn't ever find a bass player who was the right person because it's quite hard work. And then from there, I then ended up, I had another friend of mine. He seduced me into doing a band with him because he told him he could get a support on tour with the Buzzcocks. But that didn't happen. Right. And then, but we then started the band anyway because I was so prolific at the time. By about 2005 now, that I was writing too much for one band anyway. So I had the band The Maze, they were called, was my main band. And then I started this band called the Seasiders, which, you know, ended up going down a certain route, but it was all right. And at the time, I enjoyed it, but then I changed and wanted to do something different. And so I realised, again, that I was starting to lose myself in something else. I think Paul wanted to, I like Paul, but my mate wanted to make it a bit Chaz and Davey. Right. And I like Chaz and Dave. Yeah. I've got a problem with Chaz and Dave, but there's something in me, and when people say, oh, you're like Chaz and Dave, I take it as a compliment, but at the same time, it's something I want to run a mile from.
Yeah. What is it that you wanted to be somewhat more serious or?
Chaz and Dave, to be honest with you, I shouldn't be talking about them now because they're going, oh, he's talking about Chaz and Dave. Chaz Hodges was a lovely guy. I really liked him, and we wanted to support him and that. But they have got a stigma about them. They've got a reputation of what it sounds like. They're not really taken seriously. And, I don't really think I'm like Chaz and Dave.
No.
I think I just play piano and, I sing in a southern accent.
Yeah.
So, it's like saying Blur are like Chaz and Dave. Or, Oasis are like Status Quo or whatever.
Yeah. So when did you start the band that you're currently in now?
I started, it was called Dave Woodcock and the Splinters about 2010.
Okay.
And then I got signed to Blow Up Records, and he said, I don't want you to be called the Splinters because there was another Splinters.
Right.
So he ended up there's another Dave Woodcock. So he said, let's call you David.
Yeah.
Which is my name. And then I was stupid, but I felt really self-conscious, and I still do now. If I go, who's David? Because it sounds like I'm trying to be all airs and graces, but it's my name. And so it's David Woodcock. I suppose that's when I started as a different artist, if you like, probably about 2012. And then I felt awkward doing live gigs, and they go, what's the name of your band? David Woodcock. It sounds weird, so I'd say David Woodcock and the Fixtures, but still officially on all sorts of social media, it's really known as David Woodcock, just because I write all the songs and that's my artist name, really.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, we recorded some of your music. If we could just talk about one of them now and give one of them a listen. What one did you want to talk about?
What was the last one we did? Strange Things.
Yeah.
Strange Things. I've just released. It's come out in time for Halloween. I would really like a program called Uncanny, which has a guy called Danny Robbins who presents it. And for people who don't know the program, I don't think you do you?
I don't know.
No, it's about paranormal or alleged paranormal activity, and you have cases of people who say they think they've had something happen, like a ghost or whatever. And then they investigate it. You've got one guy there who's a skeptic saying it could be this or that, all these different things. Pareidolia is a word that I learnt from this. Do you know what pareidolia means?
I don't know.
Pareidolia is like when you see something. So say if you're looking at clouds, you might see a face in the clouds, but it's a cloud. Yeah. But you go, oh, look, there's an elephant or whatever. That's pareidolia. Like when you get a naan bread and it looks like the Scream. Yeah. Right? That's pareidolia. Your brain's seeing something else. So sometimes people see something and think, oh my God, that's a ghost. And it wasn't. It was something else. Yeah. It's your mind playing tricks on you, trying to join those dots up. So I got that in this song, Strange Things. It's actually a tune I'd had for a while. After I'd had a experience, and I completely forgot about this experience until the other day, actually. I was writing a song, and it was in the middle of the night, and I was playing this song. This isn't the song, and I'd got these chimes on my wardrobe door, and suddenly one of them just went ding and stopped. And I've got a recording of it because I was just getting the song down on like my phone or whatever. It was on my computer, and it went ding, and you could hear me go like that. And I completely forgot about this. But there's a lyric in it. It was the chimes are playing themselves again, but I've changed that to piano's playing itself again. But it's about the uncanny thing. Made me think, oh, do you know what? Pareidolia, I'd never heard of it. I thought, oh, I'm gonna rewrite this song. And I was like, I've been listening to Uncanny, like catching up on all these podcasts from years ago, and like spooked myself a bit and wrote this song called Strange Things. And I met Danny Robbins, the guy who presents it, and said, look, I've got this song. I mentioned your name, is that okay? And he was like, yeah, it's fine, okay, whatever. I gave him an album and he said it's okay, so hopefully it is. And it was inspired by the Uncanny program, and it's also got like infrasound. If you know what infrasound is?
Infrasound? Yeah,
it's sometimes there's people have said they feel uneasy or haunted in a room. Yeah. I know, you can track it down. There's a frequency in that room. So it's like, what came first? Was it the frequency that made them feel uneasy? Or is that frequency found where things are spooky? It's sort of this sort of thing. So I got the producer, Kev, to put infrasound in the actual proper recording.
Right.
So because it's a bit spooky, the song,
Yeah.
I want to try and create an uneasiness if you listen to it with headphones on the actual record.
Yeah.
So I think it's 18.9 hertz going all the way through.
Right. Okay. All right. Brilliant. Right. Let's give it a listen. Yeah. Cool.
Do you get the feeling when you're on your own? Somebody's watching all the time. Could be pareidolia, but you know what you saw. Too scared to check if you locked the door. And you'd give anything to feel alright. But strange things happen in the dead of night. Strange things happen in the dead of night. Saw a face at the window in a cold, cold sweat. You wanna call Danny Robbins, 'cause the piano is playing itself again. Your black dog is howling, bumps in the night, and you won't sleep until the morning light. And you'd give anything to feel alright. But strange things happen in the dead of night. 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 You give anything to feel alright. But strange things happen in the dead of night. 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 Strange things happen in the dead of night.
So when it comes to the songwriting process,
Yep.
how do you generally approach it? Like, are you one of these people that writes the music first or the lyrics? Or because I know that, like, there's a completely different way that musicians generally approach this. And also, is it something that you would say comes quite naturally, or is it something that you have to generally work at?
It comes very easily, I've got to be honest. Don't get me wrong, some songs are better than others, obviously. I've done it. I think I probably used to struggle with it when I was younger. You used to put a lot more time and effort into it and get worse results. I think the best songs come when you're not trying so hard.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just like I've got to the point now where I have to be careful because I don't want to bury songs, if you know what I mean. And sometimes I get songs all the time, and I tell people who come to me for songwriting, always grab it when it's there, because I find the songs I get, I mean, I dream songs, I get them quite a lot when I'm half asleep. I can get it though when I'm washing my hands after I've been to the loo or whatever. Song will pop in my head, lyrical idea will spark. So it's not a case of I'll get the tune or I'll get all the words. It's mixtures. I get fragments. I get an idea for a lyric. Someone might say something down the pub, and I go, well, that could be a good song idea, you know. And it's my idea, even though they come up with it, because they didn't see it was a song, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So just in case you're thinking, hang on, I said that, but you didn't write it, did you? You see, you have got to be driven. I mean, I know what's his name, Nick Cave. He goes in every day to his office and treats it like it's a job, and it is for him because he's getting money out of it. For me, like my guitarist Mark Elliott has got a thing. He got a lyric, and we were having a drink down the pub, and he said, "Oh, I've got this lyric." He said, "I need another song like a hole in the head," because he's got loads of song ideas. And another one's just, oh, there's another one to write. And I love writing the songs, I just have like a filter now, because my phone has got so many songs, like it's about 600 without a name, and then about another 4. That's just memoing over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It can get overwhelming, because you can't write all that many, and even if you could, okay, I've got a gig down the pub, say, hour and a half doing original material. Can't get them all in the set out and shown to people. So you sort of end up having to filter what you want to get out. And it can be frustrating, because I'm sitting on a bank of about 2 albums that only I've heard. And it's frustrating, and it takes so long to get an album out. I heard Boy George doing an interview, and he was saying, oh, it's ridiculous saying it takes that long to get an album made. You can do a single in 20 minutes and it's out. And it's, oh, you do an album in 20 minutes. You've sort of like been very like, you can do it quick. I don't know. For me, I can't get it that quick, because I want the musicians to learn it properly. You know, if I played drums, it would sound dreadful. So I've got to teach them. They've got to see what's in my head, and then it processes, it evolves. You get the band up to where you want to record it. You record it. You probably end up having to learn an album's worth, because it makes sense why everything's set up. You don't want to just do one song necessarily. You've got to set it all up again another day. So you go, oh, we'll do a batch.
Yeah.
This new album that's coming out, I started recording that. Where are we? We're in October now. It wasn't last spring. The spring before, I started recording it. And obviously I was bringing out 2 other records in the meantime. Then we had overdubs, which take a while, because it's got to come back. The guy I was recording with lives in Walthamstow, so he's coming back and forth to record here. So it's just a long process. You know, not everybody's around all the time. And they're doing me a mate's rate, because I can't afford to pay too much, so that takes longer to get it done, you know. And then there's the mixing of it, which takes a while. Then the mastering, it doesn't take so long.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a long experience, and then you've got to do all the test pressing, getting that sent back, getting it all. So it ends up taking a long time to get everything up and running. So because it takes that long, I've slowed down my songwriting process,
right? Yeah.
Because I'm just getting myself frustrated writing. As I'm sitting on 2 albums worth of material, so it's almost like I've got to stop doing that, because I'm going to write it, and when it's fresh to me and when it's what I want to say, I won't be releasing it for another 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So if at all, if I can get the funding, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So when it comes to the recording side of things then, so do you do that generally in a professional recording studio as opposed to at home?
Well, with the Pictures of Me album, I've got a machine up there, a 32 track. That was written in lockdown, that album, so I recorded on that. That saved my life, that machine. Did all the recording, kept me really rejuvenated me, actually, having that time off, not having to play to people, not having to see people. I loved it. Don't get me wrong, by the end I was getting a little bit. I wanted to see people again, and then we got to see people again, and that was all right. But it was a stressful time actually that time. So I'd recorded it on there, and then my files started corrupting. Me little what do you got, SD cards?
Right.
So I was losing songs while I'm saving them. So it was just like a better way of doing it than this, you know.
Yeah.
It was good because I was putting all the parts down. I was enjoying doing it. So I got in touch with my old drummer Joe Lamb, who's got a studio, and when it started to ease up a little bit, I could go in there and we got the files off that, and then he added drums on some tracks. So that was that album, and then the band came back in and we could rehearse here. And I thought, God, it sounds better with the band now, so that took a while. So in the end, recording wise, cut long story short, I usually get a studio, go in there, we do it as a band live, and then I overdub.
Okay. Right.
That's the succinct answer.
Yeah. And then do you have someone else?
But I do like post-production with it, you know, pre-production with that to get the ideas down sometimes, and then we knock it about as a band to see how it evolves. You're like, oh, we need to go to chorus quick or whatever.
Right.
Don't bore us, gets to the chorus, as my drummer likes to say.
Yeah. And do you do any of the mixing yourself, or is it something you get someone else
I
to
usually mix it with the guy who's recording it. With this next album that's coming out next year, I think it actually sounds best I've ever had an album sound. I decided I'd get away from it. And I said to him, because he recorded all the tracks, so he knew what was on it. It's not like in previous times where I've recorded it at a studio and then got this guy to mix it, and he doesn't know what's going on. He recorded it all with me, so he knew where it all was. He knew it was all in a good state, and I trust his judgment. We've worked together. This guy's called Kev Feasy, who's in a band called Fierce and the Dead. He's top quality guy, so easy to work with, and he knows me, even though we're not like buddy friends. We've only ever worked professionally. We've never gone out for a beer together. It's a professional relationship. He knows where I'm coming from. He said, I've worked with you long enough, Dave, now I think I know what you mean. And so I just let him get on with it, because sometimes I think being in a mixing session, you get that little thing in your head, oh, I'd love to hear that. Oh, what about my backing vocal there? Or, you know. So obviously, where the dog barked, I made sure that got in. Yeah. But, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can sometimes overanalyze it and end up just going through, and it does get ridiculous at a certain point.
I had an interview with Bill Ryder-Jones talking about his last album, and he'd enjoyed recording it so much that he didn't really want to give it away. He didn't want to let it go because he's got his own studio and everything. And I think you can think it's. I actually think the best mix I've ever done was this album, because the guy's just mixed it himself, and every mix, well, you know, it'd be a hard query. I'll go, not so sure about that effect there. Can you just tone that down a bit, whatever? It's just so much easier. He's done it better than I could have. You know, it's better that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When you write music, do you only ever write music on your own, or do you ever collaborate with other musicians in the songwriting process?
Most of the time I write on my own, but I do collaborate with other people if they'll have me. I do find writing with other people harder. Yeah. Because, I mean, I saw an interview with John Cleese recently, and he was talking about creativity, and it was really interesting the way he worded it. He said, it's very easy. If you're collaborating with other people, you're going to get better ideas and create more, because you knock the idea back and forth if you've got the right people. And he said, and if you're doing that, it's vital you don't sort of put someone down. You know, if you've got to be careful how you word it. You go, oh, that's great, but maybe we could try it even better if we did this. You know, keep the phrasing positive. Yeah. And, you know, I've worked with some good people collaborating, but I tend to find, I think the bones of the song, it's better you get it yourself. I put it back and forth with Wendy, sound, you know, what do you call it? Soundboard, if you like. She's like a soundboard. I said, do you think this lyric or that lyric? That one, that. Did it. So that's probably the extent of my collaboration thing, really. But we used to be in a band called Kiss Me Quick, and again, even in that, there was a few we collaborated on, but I tend to write the songs and she'd have the ones she wrote. When I was doing the Seasiders, we sometimes collaborated, but again, it tended to be more I wrote the songs, he'd come up with a couple, and there were some though that we'd collaborate on, but again, it's like sounding board. I think someone's generally got the main idea. I think Queen were like that, very much like Freddie had his songs, but you wouldn't know it. The way they brought it together, they bring the bones together, and I think arrangement can be worked on in collaboration. But on the whole, I don't really collaborate with people, but I'm open to do that because I do agree with John Cleese. If you can get good people, you'll be away. He was saying in Japan, they don't have any structure to their meetings, and they let the young guy go first because they'll say freely what they think because they don't want to undermine what their boss has said if he speaks first. Yeah. So I think there's a lot to be said for that because Japanese create a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to like your why, like what would you say your why?
Why?
Yeah, as in what drives you to keep making music and keep performing?
Well, I don't feel like I've anywhere near reached my potential audience at all. You know, so many people have never heard of me, and let's not cut about with this. You know, the reason why I'm doing this is to try and find, you know, nice to be asked, but you know, if there's one person watching this, that's one new audience member I've got. It's one new person I've managed to reach with my songs. Yeah, and I think you have to have an ego to be a songwriter. Everybody should have a bit of an ego, to be honest with you. You can be a wallflower, you know. It's whether you've got the confidence in what you've written to want to then share it with the world. And I genuinely believe in what I'm doing. So I love my songs. And I really love my songs. You know, I suppose I want to share that with the world. I don't want to be known as a bloke who teaches kids music or, you know, can play the piano and can do Knees Up Mother Brown. It's not me. Yeah. That's something I've done to earn money. You know, this is what I want to earn money out of, doing my songs. Yeah. So why? Because that's what I want to do and it's what drives me. Like I say, I write a song when I've woken up. I've written one in my sleep and what have you. So I feel like it's what I should do. That's why.
Yeah. I guess if you're good at it.
Yeah, one song, I don't care. Just get me one song on an advert and then I can pay the dog's vet bills because he's not getting any younger. Yeah.
Should we give another one of your songs a listen then?
Yeah. Well, we did Lost in My Hometown. Yeah. I'll mention that one because it probably has a bit of relevancy to what we were just talking about.
Okay. Yeah.
Lost in My Hometown, I think, is perhaps about my frustration with not getting recognised, you know, on a bigger scale nationally. I mean, it's great. I've had some Six Music play. We did a session earlier in the year with Riley and Co. And, you know, it was lovely because from that I got a new audience. So I suppose Lost in My Hometown, maybe, partly, whatever sparked it, maybe analysing it now. There is several meanings in that song. It means a lot of different things. But perhaps only being known in your hometown and still not feeling really appreciated for what you are, because I don't want to moan about anybody else, but you know, there's a lot of cover bands around here. You know, I'm honoured you've asked me and Phil Burdett on here because Phil's does his own songs, and you know, I like Phil. I respect him because he's done his own, sticks to his guns and does his own music. And that's sort of what sold this to me, really, because I spoke to Phil outside of CAF and he said it was good. He said you should definitely do it. And I feel Phil, people, you know Phil, do respect him for being a songwriter and all that. But I feel with both sometimes it's a bit frustrating because if I went out and got my mojo working, Johnny B. Good, Valerie, that's what the people, well, they're playing it. Oh, I love that one. Yeah. Brown Eyed Girl again, you know, and I just get so fed up with it. It's like, I feel sorry for the audience for being so lazy. You know, I just think, oh, really? Is that what you want to do with your life? Yeah. I just get frustrated with it.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Because, you know, I just think there's better songs to be written now, and we've heard all that.
Yeah.
And it's not the original artist doing it. Come on. Just feels wrong to me. And don't get me wrong, I've played the game. I'll do covers if I need to earn money. But I just sometimes think, it's the audience that frustrates me more.
Yeah.
I just find them lazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's listen to this next one.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. When we go out, there's nothing there now. My heart gathers dust. There's just a hole where it was. Oh, we like to sing. We do karaoke. Pick a song in a low key, and always end up making more than a meal of it. I'm in and out of love with the streets that I live on. Don't want to move away, but I just can't get on out. I'm down. Right now I'm so lost in my hometown. A string of lonely nights and empty days, dodging all the crowds via alleyways. I'm out. I'm down. Now I wanna get lost in my hometown. I stayed in all week. I found myself unpaid work. Might go out on Sunday, go watch the band play, but I'm tired of the blues and the same old jokes, the faceless women and the sleazy blokes. I heard our names eavesdropped. Once they get started, they never stop going. I'm running out of love with the streets I live on. Don't wanna move away, but I just can't get on out. I'm down. Right now I'm so lost in my hometown. A string of lonely nights and empty days, dodging all the crowds via alleyways. I'm out and I'm down, and now I wanna get lost in my hometown. Oh darling, sing me downtown. 'Cause right now I'm so lost in my hometown. I'm lost in my hometown. Nothing is waiting for you.
When it comes to your live performances, you have a very unique stage presence.
Do I?
should say. You do indeed.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
So can you just tell me a little bit about how all that started?
I had no idea, because I don't know I've got a unique stage presence. So it's like I really didn't think I had.
In terms of your the way of dancing on stage and all of that, I think
I don't even know.
I've never seen.
Moved my legs maybe sometimes.
Really? Yeah.
Just like as you would.
Yeah, no, it's just to me it was a very unique
that's very kind of you to say,
dance. So I was just curious. You genuinely
no, I don't like.
To me, it's just a sense of just doing what you like. Doing what you love.
It's just freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really think about it. Like I don't think about what chord I'm hitting and what lyric I've got to sing, but I don't think about what my body's doing at all. I might get distracted and see someone in the audience and think about them, or I might think about what the song conjures up in my mind, but I don't think about what my body's doing. So I have seen myself back sometimes going, oh God, I didn't know I did that with my leg or whatever. But I don't know, it just happens.
Yeah. So in terms of specific venues that you've played that stick out, are there any that you've performed that you would particularly recommend, or that you would say you had particularly good experiences with?
The first thing come on, Railway used to go there a lot.
Yeah.
But like, it ain't there anymore.
Yeah, I was going to
it's
ask
like,
you about that actually.
Well,
So
it's dead in it. It's gone now.
yeah.
I mean, it used to be good, but I mean, you probably take it for granted because I reckon I played there more than anyone because I was there from the start. Dave and Fee couldn't put themselves on all the time because they'd be working. So like, I was probably there the longest from the start, and I was running open mic every Monday. So that tots the tally up. I remember when it had like the 10-year anniversary, I did a Podrophenia podcast. And I said, we reckon you've played it the most. So I probably took it for granted a bit, but like, you know, now you go, oh, I miss it, but it's not there anymore. Current venues, I can't, off the top of my head, think of someone who I think, oh, must play. I did a good festival in the summer, Southend-on-Sea festival. That was good. There was thousands there, and that was really good.
Really, yeah.
But I think playing to, I mean, I hope we get asked back, but I think with an audience that big, when there's so much going on, I think it's harder because not everybody's there to see the music. Some are there just to see their friends or see the stalls or whatever, or, you know, just be in the atmosphere. So I think probably the better gigs I've done have been like, the album launch was good. That was in the venue in Southend, which is called, I think it's called the Fickle Pickle Club now, next to the Cricketers. Okay. That was good. That was about a year ago. I enjoyed that gig because that was busy and it was all people who'd come to see us and it was sold out. So I enjoyed that. That was a good gig. But yeah, I think I probably prefer an intimate venue. I say intimate, you know, a couple of hundred if it's busy, you know. I mean, I'd like to play a big venue if we had the crowd, obviously.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's a different experience, isn't it, as well? Like playing to a small, intimate crowd versus a festival or something like that. I think
the ultimate would probably be play to a big crowd that already knew your songs.
Yeah.
That'd
absolutely
be the one, wouldn't it? You know, that'd be great. But we've got to get there yet.
Yeah. So you do a lot of music videos as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you generally come up with your concepts for your videos?
Depends what the song is. I mean, with Happiness that we did earlier, that always felt to me like it suited the Porter's pub in Westcliff, and so I asked Tina, who runs it, and she said I could use it for free, and so I could shoot it there in a day. So that sort of was fairly. I had ideas of, you know, I don't know if you've seen the video where the Guinness goes over the crossword, and I had the idea because they used the lyric. It goes, "My conundrum is, if there's more life I have to do," and originally when I first showed it to the band, we used to go, "We count down on the telly," and we'd go off and do the countdown theme. So I always had in my head that I wanted to get like a countdown thing there, you know, with Happiness come up on the word. So you get little things like that. With the Strange Things video, Wendy shot all that. We had ideas. Drummer looks a bit like Dracula. I wanted him to dress up as Dracula and all that, and then it comes down in the end. It was like, well, we need a video quick, right? You sing it to camera, Dave. Wear a hat. Look. Take on a persona if you like. Just look a bit different. Sing it to camera. Put a few quirky. You know, she did some good shots. Then I had the idea about getting the piano to play itself, so I knew somewhere I could get that done. So it's just, you know, you just think of what the song needs. I've got an idea for Lost in My Hometown video actually, but whether I can execute it is another thing. But I mean, to be fair, I come up with good ideas and then like put it to someone who's got to actually work out how to film it. So they do the hard part. Yeah,
because that is difficult, putting it all
together. We had some great ideas. You know, we get a lot of good ideas and go, yeah, that's going to take a long time. And on the budget I've got, we can't do it, you know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So we haven't discussed that much about your specific influences in terms of musicians. Is there anyone specific that growing up encouraged you to write, or just generally were musicians that you listened to?
I think this might sound daft, but the first song I ever wrote was really bad. And I was going to pick guitar up and show you how bad it was. It's called Bank Robbers. And I didn't know the Clash. I think maybe, what's that band? Fun Loving Criminals. I think maybe at 13, they inspired me to write that song because I like them. So I remember because Scooby Snacks and all that. But like, I grew out of that fairly quick. And I think like, people always go, oh, sounds like this, that, the other. And I get that because sometimes, I want to know, well, roughly what you like, man. Who would you compare yourself to? And I do get that. But I always think, if ever I set out in my head, I'm going to write a song like such and such, it always ends up just sounding like a poor man's version of it. With the odd exception, I mean, 2 albums ago, Unsociable, I wrote a song called Unsociable, and I deliberately wanted it to sound like a Smiths song. Wrote it in lockdown. Wendy's favourite band's the Smiths. She was out for the day. She was going, it was when it started to lift a little bit and you could go and visit someone or whatever. So she was out and I was doing the washing up and I had the Smiths' first album on and I really liked the album. And after listening to it, I came up with my own song. It wasn't any of their songs, but it was in that style of. So I guess that influenced me. And, I had a song on the last album, which was a deliberate homage to Day Tripper by the Beatles called Guilt Tripper. I wrote it in a minor key. It's actually quite different. Sometimes, I might decide I'm going to write like Guilt Tripper deliberately. Obviously, was trying to do a homage to the Beatles with that, but yeah, it was just a one-off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's about time we listened to your last piece of music. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Whatever.
There's 2 options.
There are 2 options: Space Again, and Happiness.
So, what one would you like to speak about?
So Happiness is about what makes us happy. What makes you happy, Sam?
What makes me happy is being creative.
Right.
Yeah, hence why I do stuff like this. Having some kind of purpose, I suppose.
What if you were creative, though, and no one really cared?
Well, I am. That's exactly my scenario as well. So, because... I mean, I don't exactly have a large audience myself, so...
yeah.
And it was the same when I wrote music. I didn't have any kind of following to note. So, I mean, it was something like...
Did it frustrate you in the end?
It did. I wouldn't say that's why... Because I don't really write much music anymore.
Right.
I wouldn't say that's why I stopped. I would say it was more like what you were talking about with the ego, feeling conscious of what people thought, stuff like that, which is something I still deal with today.
So,
with things like this or whatever it might be, So, but I love doing it. So, I mean, I do it for that reason,
It's just that I do feel sometimes you do need, even though you're doing it for yourself, I think sometimes you do need that little bit of validation.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I have a lot of people validate me quite a lot with me songs, It's often the same people though. Mm-hmm. And it's just getting it a bit further afield, And I think the frustration is like, so when you look around and you see other people and they're doing well, I think, really, that's, I don't want to piss on anyone's Picasso, but like, it's not Picasso they're doing, do you know what I mean? And you think, oh, blimey. And then you look at it another way and go, yeah, but they're hard workers. They've done this social media. They've done the content for this and they've done that. And well, you don't want to do that because you're purist. But I do it. I play the game as much as I can. But I think there's also an element of, I don't want to go on social media and just see musicians pleading with you all the time. Yeah. And I feel it cheapens me sometimes. But sometimes that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hello there. Hello there. I do that, It's I find it really difficult because you're presenting yourself. But it's not. And I know, I saw this tip on BBC Uploader: how to get your music. What should I do? Do plenty of your social media content. Do this, do that. What are you becoming in the end? You're turning into just a youngster talking a lot and being all like this. It's too much. Write a decent song. Do you know what I mean? That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear you going on.
Yeah.
I want to hear a song that's good, and hasn't got a stupid voice on it. I hate that voice they do now. Yeah. I'm not out of touch, or I'm old, or set in me ways, whatever it is. I don't want to come across. Do this interview, I can hear myself turning into like a miserable person, but I'm not. I'm just frustrated.
Yeah.
Because it all seems just fake.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And,
with the new album anyway, with Space Again and Happiness on it, the new album, what I was going to get onto with this booze chart thing, to help with controlling alcohol consumption, I keep like a chart, and like, you know, it used to be pretty bad. So when it goes high like that with the high peaks, it's like a weather forecast or something, that means I've had too much to drink. But when it's low, and it did get better, that was a few years back, I've severely cut down on my intake. When it's none, it's like purple, and then it goes like that, and then it goes in peaks and troughs. So the album I was writing and recording with that in mind, so I did the artwork and decided I'd only use the colours of my booze chart for the album cover, and I listened to the album with headphones on first, and whatever came into my mind to do on the canvas, I just had one rule. The album was 45 minutes, it's 47 now. I had to finish the whole canvas within that and use all the colours and not have any white left on it. I got to the last track and I was so mindful enjoying it. I got to the last track, I went, I'm running red on yet, and I'm on the last track. So I squirted the red on, just laid it on my hands. And then I left it. I thought it was a load of rubbish. And then Wendy saw it and went, I really like that thing you've done. It's got a lot of feeling to it. And then she told a couple of her friends, showed them. And then the guy who was doing my designing, Mickey Denny, he said, I love that painting. Send me it. That's the cover. I was like, I don't think it is, Mick. Sent it to him, and he changed it, put the title in, put my name on, and squared it off. I think he brightened it up a little bit, and oops, a daisy. And then that's the album cover, and the album's called Readjusting, and it is sort of to do with changing and growing. And I do feel this album's a big change from the last record, because it's more about me and less about, well, that was pictures of me last time. It feels more like it's about how controlling things and dealing with things, rather than looking at, you know, social media stuff so much. And the next album I'm writing is called Science Fiction Kitchen Sink, which I wrote because I got so bored about thinking about myself and controlling that I decided I'd get away in my own little head and disappear to a different universe. So it's Science Fiction Kitchen Sink, and then I realised I was still writing about me, but in a different concept. Okay. So I mean, that one is really so excited about that one. I haven't started recording it yet, but it's quite a out there idea. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Well, let's give Happiness a listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Time flies before you know it. You've become your own cliche. With the barflies, honey dripping out of stupid things they say. And it weighs you down, but it's a routine that you feel you have to do. Maybe loneliness is a vice you need to grow accustomed to. I'm looking for happiness, I know it exists. I need happiness, not the fear of what I'm missing out on. Happiness, does it feel like this? Need to be careful. Are we here for happiness? on a dreary afternoon. My conundrum is that I feel there's more to life I have to do. And it weighs us down, the expectations that we put upon ourselves. I heard true happiness can be found in the smile of someone else. So I'm looking for happiness, I know it exists. I need happiness, not the fear of what I'm missing out on happiness. Does it feel like this? Need to be careful. What are we here for? I need happiness, I know it exists. Happiness, not the fear of what I've been missing out on happiness. Does it feel like this? Need to be careful. What are we here for? Happiness.
You mentioned a little bit about the negative aspects of social media earlier, and how it seems a little fake at times, which I couldn't agree more. But has there been any positive aspects for you in regards to social media?
Well, I'm aware I could come across as a bit of a moaner. So, I'd just like to say I'm very grateful for everybody who's helped me over the last few years to come off a record label, make my own records, get behind it, be supportive, and give me funding and money towards it. Still, I'm struggling to make it so it's something I can afford to do, because it's very hard to keep it up. So social media is through going through social media that I've got that funding. I've had $4,000 coming on the last album for funding to make the record. This new album, just under $3,000. And I haven't pushed it as hard because crowdfunder take quite a cut out of that, and it's stopped me wanting to push it as hard. But at the same time, without their help, unless people are going to just directly give me the money into my bank account, which some people have messaged me and go, "What's your bank details, Dave? I want to give you the money straight," because crowdfunder take like 10%.
Yeah.
But at the same time, on a crowdfunder, the record's 20 quid, say. People have put in 100 quid, 50 quid in there. So without the social media calling, I wouldn't have got that. I'm not a natural, I don't think, at talking to camera and saying concisely, "Oh, this is what I've got and we're doing this and that."
Mm-hmm.
So I do find that hard. And personally, as a viewer as well, I find it hard work watching people all the time on social media, like promoting gig. I saw something earlier, someone was doing this. It was a youngster, and I was like, oh, the wording was making me cringe.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not, so I don't like that side of it. But I recognise it's a necessary evil sometimes. So I just try to be straight, but I don't like it when people are contriving it for the camera, because it's just, I think, oh, for God's sake, please.
Yeah.
So, and I seem to see a lot of that, and a lot of this TikTok stuff where they jump up and down and change their costume and mime to someone else singing. I just want to give them a slap. It's really just so annoying, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I can't bear it. But maybe I should do more of that.
Mm. Well,
hang on, and his jumper turns to blue.
Yeah, I think there is some positive aspects to it. It is funny, and it does keep people interested, because people's attention span's so short nowadays.
That's not the reason why I do so many music videos now.
Yeah,
because just putting the audio out isn't good enough for people.
Yeah,
now they need something else.
Well, it's like with this, you need to cut these podcasts up into little 30,
with me waffling on.
But with that in mind, in terms of social media and things like that, what's the best place for people to find your music online?
Well, the website's probably the best thing to have it. I think it's all there. We have music videos, although I'm running out of storage space to actually put videos up, so I have to put YouTube links going forward, I think. But so it's davidwoodcockmusic.com. I've got a Bandcamp that I don't know a lot about, but I've got that somehow. Don't really know, but yeah, I'd say go to my website, davidwoodcockmusic.com, because on there you can pre-order the new album on vinyl or CD. Got all the other albums on there, on the store, and I think you might have to go to the shop for the Blow Up Records ones. It's quite confusing for me, but it's pretty much all laid out there. It's on every streaming platform as well. I'm on all the things that I know don't do us any good, like Spotify, and Phil Burdett hates it, and I hate it as well. Don't get me wrong, I really do, but it's like, if I'm not on it, someone, it's not just about the money either, and it could be someone's got Spotify in Peru, wants to make a film, and I'd be in it.
Yeah.
The song will be in it, and that could be what pays me, so they won't find me if I'm not on it.
Yeah.
And I hate being beholden to these big companies. I think it's really wrong that they should take all that money, but at the same time, like, the bigger picture is you want to be heard. Yeah. As much as you do write the songs for yourself, it's all the time. Come on, we want to get our music out there and listened to and appreciated. And if people can get in touch, and I've got a crowdfunder as well.
Yeah.
But like I say, they take a percentage. I think it's slightly less percentage on a shop on my website.
Okay, brilliant. Well,
YouTube as well.
Yeah, YouTube
channel.
Okay.
I accidentally loaded up one of the videos on the wrong one. I did a Thank Dog channel and realised that was the wrong channel because I was logged into the wrong Google account. So, I mean, I'm absolutely dreadful with technology.
Yeah.
No, I've got a David Woodcock
official.
official.
So, yeah.
I've got a David Woodcock official YouTube channel.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, I'll put all the links in the description.
I've got a Linktree as well. I've got one of those now.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a song kick out there somewhere. I don't know how that worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really get that. But yeah. And if you're about on February the 14th, I'm supporting a guy called Willie Dowding at the 100 Club.
Okay, brilliant.
So there you go. That's definitely the next gig for next year.
For next year, yeah.
And
okay.
December the 7th, the Cricketers with the band. An album launch, February the 8th, next year, at what used to be Club Riga. It's the venue, and I'll get tickets sorted out for that at some point. Probably might be on the website even. That's an idea. I could run it on there. Don't know. All these things going in my head at once.
All right, brilliant. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Sam.
Cheers. No worries. So that was David Woodcock. If you're a musician or a band from the southeast of England and would like to be on the podcast, then just email me at the address below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.